Hey guys, welcome back to Just a Geek in the Garage. Today was a Snap-on truck day for me. I contacted my Snap-on dealer to see if he had these screwdrivers that I ordered, if they were in, along with a couple of other things. He only had this one. The other things that I bought are still on order. Hopefully get those in about a week or so. But while I was in the truck, this is something I actually kind of, when I talked to him on the phone, I asked him if he had these in stock. I saw them online about a week ago or so. I'm not sure exactly how long they have been out. I know the regular water pump version of these, the red color, has been out for a while, but they just released the different colors. They have green, they have yellow, they have titanium, and I think there's a few other colors that I saw on there. And my dealer was fully stocked with these. So when I called him to see if these were in stock, I asked him to kind of hold a pair of green ones, which he did, and I was able to pick these up. So I've been looking forward to these. I wasn't willing to pay $80 for a red version, but I'm a sucker for green, so I ended up picking this up. He did give me a deal on all this stuff, so nothing was an actual full retail price, but that kind of depends on your Snap-on dealer and your relationship with them. One thing, I saw these online as well, and I saw, I think, another video about these. I wasn't actually planning on picking these up, but he had a really, really good special on these. And if you guys haven't seen these before, this is kind of a hybrid cutter. And what it is that this top section right here that you see is flush, is literally the flush cuts. And then down here is going to be the regular diagonal cutter. So it's kind of a 2-in-1. And it has these interesting kind of, grooves right here. And what these grooves are is it kind of shows you where on the front, the top part is going to be flush cuts and the bottom part is going to be just a regular diagonal cutter. So a little bit different than, everything flying everywhere here. I have the regular diagonal cutters right here. So, they look very, very similar. But, as you can see, the cutter on the back is a bit different. Initially, I wasn't planning on picking these up. I figured, I have flush cuts already. I have diagonals already. What do I need a hybrid for? But, again, he knows I'm a sucker for green. Gave me a good deal on this. I said, why not kind of check them out and pick them up. So I haven't even used any of this stuff yet. I just got off the truck a few minutes ago and got home. But I do plan on, kind of playing around with these guys and maybe doing a review versus the Cobras. And I haven't even opened these ones, as you can see. But I have a big zip tie here. It's just one of those regular Harbor Freight zip ties. So I just kind of wanted to try it out with the new cutters to see how big of a difference the flush cut versus the regular diagonals make, as far as how flush they actually are. So what I'm going to do is let's go here at the very bottom and just cut them, and I have it all the way up against the thing. And as you can see, there is quite a bit remaining, and that's going to be kind of very pokey when you're going around, things like that. So that's where flush cuts come into play. Let's instead of tightening it up, let's just put the flush cuts against these and see what happens. And there you go. Now they are perfectly flush, which is pretty awesome. So these could definitely be worth the money, especially if you're kind of going back and forth between needing diagonal cutters and flush cuts and having them all in one. And could be kind of more cost effective than buying both of them separately. The only issue that I can see is if you're accidentally trying to cut something here and cut it up here and kind of damage the flush cuts instead. But if you have a good dealer and Snap-on in general, they'll probably replace those for you. But I could see that getting annoying if it happens all the time. But definitely, I'm actually glad that I picked these things up. And then last up here, let's open these up real quick. These I've been going back and forth on for a long time. I do a lot of stuff with smaller electronics, things like that. And I've always wanted these smaller set of Snap-on screwdrivers. Let's see if I can get this thing open. Let me open it up off camera here. And I've always wanted a set of these smaller screwdrivers. Couldn't really justify the price. Again, these things were on sale. He gave me a pretty good deal on these. So, I've been waiting for them for a little while. And, I have the Icon versions, which I use, which, I like. Granted, the Instant Grip I do like a little bit better than the Icon. But when you're doing something this small, usually doesn't matter quite as much. But I've been really wanting to get my hands on these because I have a precision screwdriver set from Snap-on, but it's the ones made in Spain and by Bahco. I never really liked the fit and finish on those ones, and these ones appear to be much better fit and finish. So Again, I can't give you too much of kind of a review on these because I just picked all these things up a few minutes ago. Just kind of wanted to show you, what I got. And then there's also, he gave me the new flyers here. So if you guys are interested, I'm going to kind of go over them rather quickly, just so you can kind of see, what kind of deals are coming up. But before I do that, I do want to kind of give an overview of these 10-inch water pump pliers. So obviously, most people, when they think water pump pliers, are going to go directly for the Cobras here, and which are obviously kind of the gold standard of water pump pliers, and everyone is pretty much copying them. They have so many different variations of these. These are just a traditional Cobra with the button to press to kind of go up and down. They have the alligators where it kind of goes down by itself without having to press a button. They have the auto adjust, so a lot of different ones of these. And for me personally, my favorite one has not always, but is this guy, which was just released. It's their new ES pliers that also have kind of that twin grip style in the front, but open up extremely wide. So I kind of wanted to compare it to this one and see what I like. Now, one thing you kind of notice right off the bat is the snap-on version are going to be much beefier. They're like probably 50% larger width-wise than the Cobras, and because they're snap-on, one thing that they're going to add on there is kind of that talon grip, which they're famous for. So you have a few different kinds of of surfaces to grip on with the snap-on, which is very, very nice. Here, let me open these up all the way and kind of compare size-wise to the other two. So there you go. You can see the snap-on opens up. They're almost identical to the regular Cobras. And let me take a look at the Cobra ESs that were just released. And they're going to be around the same as well. I mean, for me, I think my go-to in general is going to be these guys going forward. I like the fact that they're slimmer, but if you're working on something that's extremely heavy duty, I can definitely see these coming into play. One nice thing is that you can actually adjust this, if it's all the way, let me see here. So right now I can't adjust it. If I open it, I can adjust it down without pressing anything, both up and down. And then once I locked it into place, it can only kind of go up from there. And this was kind of reminiscent to me of the Irwin versions. And these were actually the first ones that I bought because I wasn't willing to pay the extra for the Cobras until I actually got them in my hands and saw how much better they are. But these ones, you press the button to go down, but going up, you can adjust without pressing the button, which I thought was kind of cool. But once you have the actual real item, you see what the benefits are. So again, I'm going to play around with these things for a bit and maybe do a full kind of comprehensive comparison against the Knipex and some other things. But in the meantime, for any of you guys that are interested, I'm just going to kind of go over this flyer, and let me see if I can even get this done where it's kind of effective. So what I want to kind of do is I'm just going to go just show you each page, and then you guys can kind of pause and look to see what might be beneficial for you. But Snap-on sometimes has some pretty good deals. This one right here is their flyer that started August 25th, and it goes through October. So definitely, a few things in here. Sorry for that noise. I know it's a bit annoying. But yeah, if you guys just kind of want to take a look and see what you might like. This is, I think, they're what's considered kind of their heavy duty flyer. So there's a lot of air tools and things like that. I don't use air anymore. I did a long time ago, but now that's just a home shop. It's, even though I do have a very small air compressor for certain things, overall, I'm going to be battery powered as a lot of you guys are. This was kind of the only page that intrigued me a bit. Have a few different pry bars, hammers, things like that. Got some linesman's pliers over here. A bunch of lights. As much as I like Snap-on, I typically avoid their lights. They tend to be, rebranded other ones, like, OEM tools or Easy Red, things like that. So I decided to kind of pick those up instead. So that's this flyer right here. And like I said, this one is going to be August 25th all the way through Halloween. And then this one is their September flyer. This one is kind of their diagnostic flyer. And, you know, I tend not to use a lot of diagnostic stuff, but, you know, I'll kind of go over this real quick. A few things in here. Again, looks like some more, those are the 14.4s. You got some, you know, some trim tools, some of these really old school kind of trim tools. If you work on older cars that have actually like the window crank. I know I have this tool right here that I haven't touched in ages because, you know, most cars do not have a window crank anymore. This is just kind of giving you some more information. Let's take a look. And like I said, anything that kind of intrigues you, I would just simply pause and zoom in. And yeah, and that is that flyer. And actually, we talked to him today a little bit about tool carts, and there's some new tool carts that came out. There's a 40-inch tool cart that is the extra tall, which was pretty cool, and also a sliding top one that I was having him price out for me. So what do you guys think? You know, do you think these things are overpriced? Like I said, this is retail, I think, around 80 bucks. This, I want to say the retail is around 70, and these are probably around 70 as well. Like I said, he gave me a little bit of a deal on each one to make it worth it. And honestly, when I go on eBay and I was looking at something like this to buy used, it was almost the same price used as it is brand new. Because, you know, obviously there's a lot of demand for Snap-on stuff, especially for people that don't have access to a Snap-on dealer, or for smaller items that people are not willing to pay shipping for on the Snap-on website. So that is my my Snap-on day. Hopefully I will have my other tools that I ordered here in the next week or two. And like I said, be on the lookout. I'm probably going to do a review of these water pump pliers versus the Knipex, and then, you know, I might do a review of these guys. Just kind of want to play around with them and see kind of what the use case is for me. So again, comment down below. Tell me what you think of these purchases, and then if you you know, want me to review these versus anything specific, especially if I already own it, I'm more than happy to do so. Please, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.